Have you ever wondered why the UFC fans have recently gone sour on Matt Hughes? Well, get ready, because we are about to reveal a story that is as wild as it is unsettling. From assaulting his own father to misogyny and bullying, we will explore how Matt's life outside of the Octagon is wilder than you think. Now, Matt came from a tough background, growing up on a cattle farm in Illinois. Hard work was in his blood, and that work ethic translated perfectly into the brutal world of mixed martial art. Early on, Matt proved to be a natural. He trained relentlessly, honing his wrestling skills and developing a fighting spirit that was truly unmatched.
All the weight you want in a weight room and stuff like that, but he just got a strength about him that's, I don't know, it's different. If you put 300 pounds on a bar and you send him in there to lift it, he might be able to lift it, but if you put him up against a 300-pound man, you throw him around like a rag doll.
His rise in the UFC was nothing short of phenomenal. Victories against top contenders like Carlos Newton and Renzo Gracie cemented his reputation as a force to be reckoned with. But it was his epic battles with another legend, Georges St-Pierre, that truly etched his name into UFC history. Now, while Matt is still considered one of the best fighters of his generation, his story is not all sunshine and championship belts. His autobiography, Made in America, the most dominant champion in UFC history, offered a glimpse into his personal life. And let's just say it wasn't all picture perfect. Matt paints a picture of a difficult upbringing. His father, a strict disciplinarian, believed in tough love. The mantra, spare the rod, spoil the child, is a phrase that perfectly defines him. Unfortunately, that tough love sometimes crossed the line. The intimidating father of the Hughes household would be made to suffer for the strict treatment of his sons as soon as they were bigger than him. In Matt's biography, he rather gleefully describes how after his father was callous enough to scold his brother Mark for riding a motorbike without a helmet, the Hughes brothers assaulted their dad, putting a heavy beating on their old man. It's a part of his life story that's hard to ignore and honestly a little unsettling. But here's the thing, as fans, we idolize these fighters. They seem larger than life, invincible in the cage. But what we're about to reveal about Hughes should remind us that even the toughest of champions have their struggles. It is important to remember that these fighters are human, and they can be as flawed as the rest of us. Life, as they say, throws punches that you don't see coming. In 2017, Matt's world took a devastating turn. Imagine a Friday morning like any other. You're driving, maybe on your way to the gym. Suddenly, everything goes wrong. In July 2017, that is exactly what happened to Matt. He was involved in a horrific train accident. The details are chilling. Apparently, there were no crossing signs at the tracks, and a train slammed into the passenger side of Matt's truck.
And so it was a bad angle, and I had a video on my truck, and in my truck, the other seat and block up between the front and the back door is in the way, so you can't see the track at all. Terrible angle, but that's why I didn't see the train. There was no crossings, no lights, and just a bad crossing, but I was just going to fill his tractor and I get hit.
Matt suffered a traumatic brain injury, the kind of damage that can leave a person completely changed. He was rushed to the hospital and placed in a medically induced coma for a staggering 19 days. Doctors weren't sure if he would ever walk or talk again. This wasn't a fight in the Octagon. This was a fight for survival. As fans, we watched Matt dominate opponents in the cage. Now we watched him battle death and try to recover. The progress was slow and grueling. Matt couldn't speak, couldn't even care for himself, but the fighter inside did not give up. He started physical therapy, pushing himself day after day. He may not have been the same Matt we knew from the fights, but he was fighting back.
I've seen this thing more than anybody. Matt Hughes, ladies and gentlemen.
If I wasn't hit by a train and that where it was separated, I took him out. He made me cry a couple times.
So Matt and Rory will be available.
But here is where things get complicated. After the accident, he wasn't the same Matt Hughes. His wife Audra came forward with disturbing allegations of domestic violence. Allegedly, shortly after he had recovered from the trauma of the accident around September or October 2017, he physically attacked her. She claimed that one day after she refused to give Matt his truck keys out of concern that he wasn't ready to drive again, he snapped. Audra alleged that he choked her and smashed her head against a wall. Nearly a year later, in July of 2018, he also allegedly threatened her with a gun, telling her, "I'm going to fucking shoot you," after she took his phone and accused him of communicating with multiple women. Around Christmas of that year, he allegedly hit her in front of their children. In 2019, Hughes received a restraining order after his wife filed a domestic violence complaint against him. In response, he filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and requesting joint custody of their 2 children. Now, this paints a picture that's hard to reconcile with the Matt Hughes that we thought we knew. The hero, the champion, is allegedly involved in something so terrible. The truth is, life is messy. Even heroes have demons, and the trauma of a brain injury can have unpredictable consequences. Studies have shown that brain injuries can lead to aggression, impulsivity, and mood swings. This doesn't excuse Matt's alleged actions, but it does add a layer of complexity to the situation.
You read you read the thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. Anytime when there's like there's kids involved and stuff, I just feel bad for the whole situation. It's a horrible situation. He obviously needs some help, but is this due to the injuries, or is this? It maybe not.
It seems
though.
to have happened after. Didn't it happen like the first one they said was after the truck in 2017? She wouldn't let him drive or something, or she took his keys because she said the accident had fucked him up.
The darkness didn't stop there. Matt's twin brother Mark also filed a restraining order against him. Allegedly, they had a falling out over a tractor and things turned physical. Mark alleged that Matt grabbed and hurt Mark's 15-year-old son when he saw the child using the tractor, and then later doused the tractor in gasoline in an attempt to destroy it. The family conflict adds another layer of complexity to Matt's legacy. Here was a man who had battled back from a traumatic brain injury, only to become entangled in further turmoil. This isn't something unusual in the MMA world if we're being honest. Stories of John Jones and Tony Ferguson come to mind, but they are both still some of the most loved fighters in the world. So what makes Matt's case different? Why doesn't he receive the support of the fans like Jones or Ferguson? While there is no way to know for certain, a shocking revelation about Matt's past and his beliefs might have something to do with it.
That's a big competition for me as well. And then we're playing around amongst ourselves to see who's got the most birds and this and that. So I really thrive on competition. So this is a great way for me, in my post-fighting career, to still be competitive.
One of the things that left a bad taste in the mouths of some of his fans was the fact that Matt is a big proponent of hunting wildlife, something that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. He usually posts pictures of wildlife that he hunts, and this sparks hatred and controversy online. Matt is such a big advocate for hunting that he even hosted a show called Trophy Hunters TV. He shares photos of himself with his kills on his website, and even took his young son on an African hunting trip.
To ride along the trails, and you'll see one, they're always out on the trail just hanging out, and then we would slowly walk up to the bird and wait for it to take off, and then we'd shoot it.
It was Luke's first time hunting, birds like this maybe, so I wasn't going to rub it in his face or anything, but I was kind of keeping track of what birds I thought I hit and what birds he would have hit. So the next bird we walk up, once again we're walking to it. As soon as it flies up off the ground, we take aim and shoot.
Now, as fans, we might feel conflicted. We admire Matt's fighting spirit, but hunting is a highly debated topic. Some see it as a tradition, while others view it as animal cruelty. The interesting fact is that this love of hunting even spilled over into some rivalries. Vegan fighter Dan Hardy used Matt's hunting passion to try and goad him into a fight.
It'd be an honor to get in there and put a beating on him. The thing is, I'd spoken out about his love for shooting things. I'm not in agreement with it, and I just don't like the fact that he thinks it's okay to do it. So I'd spoken out about that, and then the problem is, because we're both in the same weight class, people automatically assume that it was about mixed martial arts, and it's not. I mean, the guy was a champion. He was a legend in the sport.
Hunting isn't the only thing that rubbed Matt's fans the wrong way. When Matt released his autobiography, he held no details back. It was a supposed tell-all book. I guess he should have kept some details to himself, because he even revealed some disturbing attitudes towards women. One story involves Matt running into a girl he had made out with when they were 13 in a grocery store some years later. Rather than approaching the woman in a respectable manner, he revealed how he got kicked out of the store for smacking her on the ass, and mentioned that he noticed how much tighter her body had become. Another incident involved a conversation that Hughes had with his wife prior to his involvement in Tough 2. Randy Couture had coached on the previous series of Tough and had left his wife for a younger model he had met on the set of the reality show after being away for 6 weeks. After being asked by Dana to coach on the show, Matt called his wife and expressed his uncertainty about going on the show, as he didn't want to end up like Couture. You could say his uncertainty about leaving his wife after not being able to see her for only a month and a half just shows how little she means to the UFC legend, as well as highlighting the lack of control Hughes felt around women. These stories are hard to swallow, and they paint a picture of someone who doesn't quite respect women on an equal footing. For a legend like Matt Hughes, that is utterly disappointing. But there is more disappointment left. Remember the work ethic that we mentioned before? The one that made Matt a champion? Well, it seems it wasn't always there. In his book, he boasts about cheating his way through college, barely attending classes, yet somehow getting top grades. But wait, because it gets even worse. Matt also describes how he and his wrestling buddies use their size and fighting skills to bully other students in college. Now, bullying is something that takes hundreds of lives every year, and Matt's blatant boasting about this goes against everything a UFC champion should represent. The martial arts are all about discipline and self-control, not using your skills to intimidate others. Imagine a young student on campus, surrounded by these hulking wrestlers who think nothing of throwing their weight around. Of course, everyone makes mistakes, and hopefully Matt has matured since his college days, but the way that he talks about these incidents in his book raised some eyebrows. It almost seemed like he was glorifying what he did. No remorse, no apology. No wonder many fans lost their respect for this UFC legend, despite all of his great performances and all of his triumphs inside the cage.